happy Sunday, August 23rd. Welcome to Ancestrally Speaking. Today we are going to really talk about how we're going to survive the rest of 2020, because the astrology coming is, actually let me do that face. That's the Instagram face. It's crazy. So we have got Andrea Thompson here to talk and guide us through and how we can really use those energies, right? So I'm really excited. I am going to allow her to join. Please tell me in the comments how you guys are been happening this week. Let me know. She's going to be joining in a quick second. So excited. Hello. Hi. How are you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
How are you doing? You good?
I'm fine. You hear me? You hear
Perfectly,
me well?
Absolutely perfect. I'm actually going to turn you down a touch because it's slightly loud.
Oh.
Yeah, you're loud and clear. Looking
Okay.
very nice there in the background, the views and the sun. So thank you so much for being with us again. This is the second time you've been on Ancestrally Speaking. So thank you for your time and your knowledge. But you know what? I saw a article about the astrology for the rest of 2020, and I was like, really? We're really going to do this to us. And of course we are, because it's 2020 and 2020 is showing out. 2020 is showing who's in control, which is not us. So I wanted to bring you and your experience and your skills and your knowledge, and I wanted you to keep telling us what we can do to harness the energies that are coming through, because woo, ciao, or Chile, as the young ones say. Please help us out. So Andrea, tell us who you are first and just how you got into, astrology of some sorts and the lunar healing and things like that.
So, as Simone said, my name is Andrea Thompson, and I've coined myself a lunar alignment healer, mainly because about 13 years ago, I started a blog on understanding the moon cycles and what kind of spiritual work you can do during those moon cycles. And it really came out of a place of me just wanting to know, but also sort of humbling myself and spending time with older women who were already doing the work.
Older women will get you right. They will get you right.
And when you're at a place of humility and you're open and you want to accept that knowledge, that energy, that wisdom, or even that direction, it comes. Right. So that's where the blog came from. So from that, when I was doing all of the research and trying to do meditations and writings about it, I realized a lot of the moon, you have to have some understanding of astrology.
Right.
So I never coined myself an astrologist, but I do have to have some astrology understanding.
Exactly, the basics. Okay, so you've been with us before and you gave us amazing, like literally amazing information and guidance. So we're back again. So tell us, what has the rest of 2020 got in store for us? Because I just read it and I was like, so
well, you know what? It's funny that you say that, because for me, and we sort of had a conversation about this in preparation for our today. I think we all have to really accept that before we can think about what's happening next, we really have to think about what has happened and what has transpired.
Right.
And I know that there's a lot of us who really want all of this to be over and we're done with it. We're tired of being inside. We're grief-stricken with all of the loss, not just loss of people, although that's huge. Loss of jobs,
income,
loss of
status, identity,
income, status, regularity, the ability to move.
Normality.
Yeah, consistency, all of those things. Normality.
Right.
Yeah. And also a sense of you having the ability to do all of these things. And I just think that we have to be very grounded in understanding that the way energy works is when something happens, a whole cycle has to be completed.
Yeah.
Because if you don't complete the cycle, you really jeopardize not really getting what it was all about. And sometimes it just becomes you are, then it's kind of in vain. Because if we've had all these things happen, if we've had all of this stuff transpired, and we just sort of take the back door out now that we're a little bit towards the midpoint, then what do we get from it? Do we really get the power? Do we really understand? Can we really attract the wisdom from it? So saying that, yes, the rest of the year is going to be a bit of a bumpy ride, like this first part has been. I know, white knuckles, white knuckles.
What do black people say?
However,
black knuckle ride? I don't even know. Like,
no, your knuckles still kind of turn white. Mine do. I don't know if you can see mine. They turn white.
Or is that the ashiness?
White
is that the ashiness, or is it? Because I tried to, I try and get inside,
Oh gosh. Well, in heat like this, there is no ash. There's just sweat.
Child, I came out of that bathroom. I was like, why am I sweating? Why did I wash? Because I'm just sweating. I know. So you're right. That's why I really love speaking to you as well, because you're always saying, okay, yes, this astrology and this is going on with the planets, but we can actually do stuff with that. Like, as much as it seems problematic, we can do stuff with that. So let's talk about, should we talk about Mars first? Because Mars is the, the planet of war. Let's talk
about Mars.
I have a lot of Mars.
Yes, let's talk about Mars.
So
you have a lot of Mars?
Oh,
no surprise. No surprise.
Listen, I'm a warrior.
No surprise there.
I know. So
I'm very, very sure that you have a lot of Mars.
It's not my fault. When things happen, I just go say, it's Mars. Sorry. So tell us, like, what's going on with Mars? What's actually happening with Mars right now? Or what will be happening?
So with Mars, as you said, most of us think about the warrior and the fight and the aggression and, lion strength and very much an emotional roller coaster. But what I want us to think about with Mars, because Mars is going to be in retrograde, I believe it's the 9th of September to November 13th.
But we're ramping up.
And of course, I know, we're within a couple of weeks of it. And so sometimes you can feel it 1 to 2 weeks before the retrogrades actually start, and also 1 to 2 weeks after they end. Right. So I really want us to challenge ourselves of what we think about a warrior. And one of the things that I had written years ago on the blog about is that we really miss some of the power of Mars because we don't see all the dimensionality of it. We don't see the strategists. We don't see the patience that warriors have. We don't see the compassion.
Strategy, patience.
The compassionate.
Yes. I get. I'm feeling that.
We don't. We understand that there is a protector, but we don't see the intelligence of protection. It takes intelligence to protect.
You're right. And also to see, because you have to see all the threats and anticipate what the threats can do, even if they won't do it, but just always know the potential of danger. And that takes a lot.
Whenever I think of warriors, I really think of, and I'm sure my Mandarin is not going to be correct, but Sun Tzu's The Art of War, because one of the things that really talks about is how do you big picture what a real war is about. And not micro focus on just a battle or the players or the location. How do you span out and really see what war is about? And what is your goal? We can be angry, we can be assertive, we can have all the strength, but what is our goal? What is our intention? What is all of this for?
Right.
And so that's one of the things that I really want to, I'm personally going to, and I really encourage everybody to focus on, because during retrogrades, things can really come at you kind of sideways, and it can throw you off.
Life's going to come at us
if we really, and if we really center ourselves on the warrior that we are and the strengths that we have and the dimensionality of the warriors that we are. I'm
typing this down. That's a quote of the week. Center ourselves on the warrior that we are. I'm typing that down. Keep talking. I'm just a quote of the week. Go on. Keep going.
The other thing I think when I think about Mars is the gift of being able to turn dreams into reality. And that's something that's a lot softer and is less thought of. But if you think about it, anything that we want, that we desire, we have to put some kind of energy into it for it to manifest. And Mars is a very good source
for that manifestation.
A very
as you
good
said, making
for
miracles
that manifestation.
Happen. I love that. And we need a lot of miracles, you know. It's not just about regaining money that we've lost and status and things. It's not actually about that. It's actually about us reimagining ourselves for this new normal, right? And we need the energy to get to that place, because that's what COVID has shown us, that we're not firing on all cylinders. We weren't even firing on half. We're not, them, right?
And that's how we got here.
Yes.
That is how we got here.
We got the words this morning. Give it to me.
It's also very interesting, piggybacking on something you just said. I really want to use this time to catapult myself in the direction that I'm supposed to be going in my life. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do during this Mars time. It's not about me focusing my power and my strength on other people or anything external. Right. It's about me really using all of this strength for myself and where I want to go in my life. Because the reality is, if I'm grounded in that, then all the other things that come at me, I'm not saying they won't come at me, but I'm not so vulnerable. Because I'm focused
and prepared. And this is one thing I've always learned. You know, I was a Girl Scout, I was a Brownie, and just a big shout out to my family.
I was a Girl Scout.
Yes, right? And
I was a Girl Scout.
We have to give a big shout out to our Ghanaian fancy people who actually, that's the inspiration. Our Asafo armies were the inspiration of that. But, you know, be prepared. It was something they always promised to do. Promise to do my best and do my duty to God, to serve the Queen. Let's scrap that shit, and help other people and keep the Brownie guy's law. A Brownie always thinks of others before herself and does a good deed every day. And we were always like, be prepared. And it is stuck with me. It's such an amazing way to live.
Did you really just recite that whole thing?
It's indoctrination. But I don't know. And you know what? I know in my spirit, I'm surprised and said, excuse me, I don't want to, you know, save the Queen or whatever. But I didn't. I mean, I was 7 or 8. I don't know. But I mean, it's just really crazy to me that, you know, this thing about protection and also being prepared is something that is just age old. It doesn't get old, and it always works.
It doesn't.
It always works.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also take the time during this Mars retrograde to make it about you.
Okay. I can do that.
There is so much stuff that is going on that is distracting, that is fighting for our attention, and that is trying to make us not be focused on ourselves. Use all of this strength to really make it about us. And us could be your community, it could be your family, it could be your work culture, it could be the group of people that you come from, it could be whatever. I'm not going to define that for you, but really turn that energy on yourself.
Yeah.
Really take and make no excuses and be very unapologetic about it.
I love this. So there's Mars, right? But I heard Uranus is coming, right? And you need to talk to me about Uranus, because everyone's like, Uranus, and I'm like,
okay. So what I understand about Uranus is that really Uranus is the father of invention. And so if you think of invention, so if you think of that, this is the best time if you couple up using all of this energy on yourself and connecting that with ingenuity, which is what our people are the best at, then you really are setting yourself up for a formula that will succeed kind of beyond your wildest dreams.
So we shouldn't be afraid of Uranus?
Uranus also is a time of...
We shouldn't be afraid of Uranus and what Uranus is going to do? Okay.
We should not be afraid. Okay. We should realize that there are going to be new things that come, and they may be things that we wanted at this time or we did not want at this time. But just recognize that new things are coming, and think of Uranus as a way to really push through deadlocks in our lives.
I've got some deadlocking to push
through. So that barrier that you can't really make it through, and I'm not saying this in a very sort of sing-songy way, like it's going to be okay. No, it can be difficult.
Sorry, it's like, oh, you thought it was going to be easy? No.
Hey.
We're not having that. We'll be hacked.
So think about it. So really think about it as a way to break through barriers that you have not been able to. And there will be a cost to it, but it is not going to be something that is going to harm you. It may be something that you want, that you want it to keep, that you cannot keep in order to go to the next level. But it is about, invention is about doing things that were never done before. Invention is about accepting things that you never thought were for you before.
Okay.
So try to not be so stuck in that, it's just going to take everything away and it's going to wash it all away and blah, blah, blah. Because anything that is energy is really about how we approach it. And it doesn't mean that we're always going to have the experience that we think that we're going to have with it. But we do have a lot more, responsibility for the intention.
Right. I did some
of what happens.
There's something that just came to mind as you're speaking, is that I want to talk a little bit about how we perceive and how we handle loss. And actually, is loss loss? Are we losing anything when we lose something? Because some of the times we're actually gaining a lot, right? And I'm even thinking through death as well. We gain ancestors, we gain our guided angels, we gain things. It's painful. I'm not saying things aren't painful. What I am saying is that loss and the things we are associated with loss and we call loss actually is gain if we kind of think about it.
Well, one of the things, the constant conversations I have with one of my female elders is that in the Black community, particularly in the U.S., because we do not ritualize and ceremonialize our loss like we used to, we do not benefit from it.
Wow. Oh my God, that is yes, give me that. You're so right.
We do not benefit from it.
You're so right.
I have a very quick anecdote. My grandmother was born here in New Jersey in the early 1930s. And when her grandmother passed away, who was born in the 1800s, they laid her out in the front parlor. And they put a black wreath on the door so everybody in the neighborhood know that this is the house that is grieving and that is mourning. People brought food, people came and visited. And every time she tells me that story, I'm amazed at just how much we knew. How much we knew, even when we didn't know that we knew. And so what I absolutely, that cellular, that ancestral, that DNA, exactly. I feel like the more we get back to investigate, or if we have to even create those rituals and ceremony around loss, the more we benefit from
it. Oh my God, I love that. I'm going to really take some time to think on that, because there's lots of things I felt I've lost in my life. But there's other things that I've gained. So I don't know if it really is a loss when you're gaining as well. But that's not to say it hasn't been painful and there hasn't been lessons to be learned.
Yeah, even in my own personal life, when I've had people pass away, ever since I was a little kid, I always had a very strange relationship with death. I wasn't so much afraid of it as I was sort of curious by it. And honestly, and when I grew up, death was a happy time because I didn't have to go to school. Family members were all around.
Well, you're definitely leaning on the Ghanaian part of you, because it's a party. When you die in Ghana, it's a party for 3 days if you don't know. So
exactly. Wake keeping.
It's a party.
Wake keeping.
I tell you, Ghanaians and death, it's another level.
Yeah, it is. It is. From the cloth to the food, to the music, to the neighbors, to the partying all night.
Yeah, my people.
And I think that even in all of those things, there is opportunities for joy. There's opportunities for growth. There's opportunities to speak about the person. And in the celebration of the loss, there's a way that you connect to who the person is.
Yeah, yeah.
And it helps. It's a little bit of a salve on the physical loss of the person. Yeah. It's a little bit
interesting, that, right? So we spoke about Mars, we spoke about Uranus. What other planets are doing what they got to do, and how does it weave into everything as well?
So the other one that I wanted to quickly speak about today is Pluto. And I'm not talking about the Disney character.
No, it's the tiniest of planets. but with big,
It is
big
very
effects.
big energy.
Ooh.
Big energy.
Big planet energy.
In essence, Pluto is the transformer, the ultimate transformer.
Okay.
So from something small comes something so large. And Pluto is the planet that I think of when I think of really clearing the way.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And really reaching for what your destiny is. And realizing that with Pluto, you can do a complete reconstruction.
Mm-hmm. So I've heard this term called plutonic, not platonic, plutonic relationship.
Plutonic.
And what's the meaning behind that? Why is a plutonic relationship something to have, or maybe even something to avoid?
So first of all, I think it really is talking about when you have relationships with people, how do those relationships transform you?
Okay.
Now, I'm not the person who coined it, but what I use it as when I talk about plutonic.
It's a transformative relationship.
It's a transformative relationship. Because some people come to your life and they're not transformative.
Yeah.
Clearly they're not.
Sometimes they can even take you back.
And some people, exactly. And some people are transformative and it doesn't feel good.
Ooh, say that again. No.
And some people are transformative and it's the best thing that ever happened.
Right. And this is the thing that we have to balance out. The things that we're feeling that we should feel, it should be okay and it should be comfortable and it's like, actually, no, it shouldn't be. And we've been piling on all these external things to keep this equilibrium of normality, when really it's just been really fake and just it's unsustainable. We've seen how quickly our lives can change with well, I say simple, but with a virus, right? So
exactly,
we have to start thinking about ways of being sustainable in not only how we live, like in our actions and what we buy and where we focus on and things like that, but really within ourselves. How do we sustain ourselves with all the things we have around us naturally and we have within naturally? And that's why I always find it interesting to look at the planets and see what's happening. I'm not an astrologer either, but there is no way I'm going to walk in this earth and be like, oh, everything's great. I'm going to start a business today when it's like Mercury retrograde and all this crap going on. It's like, I have to watch out for those things because those are the things that determine a lot around us. And also, I respect the order of my place in the earth, right? And that's something that I don't think people really get. Yes, we're humans, but we really are not the biggest and the most important thing to happen in this space. And so with all this energy coming, with all of this kind of the planets and what they're going to give us, how do we actually just day to day take it easy on ourselves, or how do we just make it through? So we know about transformation. We know that Mars is about planning, right? Strategy, being prepared. But just give me the everyday. What am I going to do? Because it sounds crazy. I've gone through enough. Like, it's August. I made it and I don't know how. And I've got another couple of months. What am I going to do, Andrea? Like, seriously.
So it's very interesting. I just posted a blog this morning about really trying to find balance in all of this, because for me that's what this really is. And my personal path to try to find balance is really about leaning into what I know ancestrally. And I think I mentioned this the first time I was on, but when all of this started back in March, living in the New York metropolitan area, it was very intense, as you know, since you live here as well. And for a brief second, I thought I was going to have to be fearful. And then my next thought was, I come from people who have endured and were able to not only make it but thrive beyond something like slavery. I can make it through.
Right.
And I know that sounds very, like in a book or something, but that's literally how it happened. My first thought was, what am I gonna do if this happens to me or whatever? And then my second thought was, you'll figure it out, because you come from people who have endured far worse than this.
And figured it out.
Jim Crow South,
Right.
you know, Reconstruction, World Wars, the 1960s, all of that. You will figure it out. And it's not, you know, it's not going to be easy, but it's also very basic things. I think sometimes the powers that be really disempower or they really cut people's power, because when people don't feel like they're empowered, then the smallest thing that can be within their reach, they will not reach out and get. And I refused in everything that was going on. I think I said this to you. I refused to let white supremacy.
Oh, that little old nugget.
I refused to let white supremacy take my joy, and to take my life and my power.
Say it again, because.
So even if I developed COVID, I would have to figure out a way through it. Even if someone around me, I would have to figure out a way. But also understanding that we have the power. We are the power. Let me restate that. And the more we understand that and operate from that place, then everything is possible.
No, you're right.
Everything is possible.
I love it. I love how succinctly you put that. And also, we do always have to speak about white supremacy. I bang on about this thing. It's not a fucking myth, guys.
Yes, you do.
I do.
Yes, you do.
It's not a myth. It permeates every freaking part of our lives. And to really decolonize, we have to constantly dismantle. That's in everything. Everything. We have to constantly dismantle what we're doing. And so this is why we have to walk with the power that our ancestors have given us, because that is not from, white supremacy. That's from our lineage. That's from ourselves. That's from who we are and what our purpose is. And this is also why we have to draw from the planets and the energy, because they ain't thinking about white people when they're doing what they're doing. They're just doing what they're doing. And that's how we, as marginalized people, as people who are not white, have to live our lives. We have to do what we do. Right? We don't need to reimagine white supremacy to include us. That shit don't work. Stop that shit. Seat at a table. Make your own damn table. Stop that. The hell?
Exactly. Kind of or you don't even have to be at a table.
You know, be in the forest.
You could be on a throne.
Right there.
You could be on a throne.
There you go. You could be on a throne.
Be on a throne.
Right? And it's this kind of analogy that, I want to get in and change. It doesn't need to change. The system is working perfectly well. You were never included, and it was there to destroy you. That's all you need to know about it. Now, what you gonna do? Because that's it. So what you gonna do? Right? And so this is why these conversations are amazing. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is not only that, but really accept this is what it is. Figure a way to digest it that works for you, and then transmute it. This is all energy. This is all power. It is.
Sorry, that's ridiculous, but it's like
Are you really black girl dancing?
Yes, transmutation. Listen,
it is one of my favorite words, but it is one of the things that is the hardest to do.
But we can do
for 2 reasons.
That's real black girl magic.
Yes, we
black
can.
People magic. That's it. Yeah, transmuting.
That is what the magic is. That is what the magic is. And the 2 things that I think holds us back from transmutation, one is fear, and 2 is listening to other people.
Yeah.
Whether that's your family, whether it's what society is telling you about yourself, whether it's what your partner is saying, whether it's, the things that you think maybe your friends think about you, what they think about you is not your business. And the moment I learned that and started really embracing that, my whole life started changing.
Definitely. And this is the thing. It's actually small things, small ways of thinking, small things that you don't indulge in anymore. Choices that, I'm not going to do that anymore. And things just start opening up. You're like, oh my God, this life was always here for me. Like it was always here for me to enjoy.
Exactly.
I was just shutting myself off from it because I was keeping myself occupied with bullshit that they ain't gonna do nothing for me.
Doesn't serve me. And so, so you said, what is it? It is really the small things. And one of the things that I was thinking when we were talking about Mars, one of the best things about warrior energy is things happen in the most subtlest of ways. it's not huge proclamations and regalia and all of that. The changes and the actual winning of things and the overpowering and the overturning and the transmutation, they're small, subtle things. Yeah. They're not the largest.
Yeah, biggest, like grand.
They're
gestures.
not large things.
Yeah, like it's, yeah.
What it is a series of small things, back to back to back to back, that when you turn in your rearview mirror and you look, you realize how far you've come. But this whole self-congratulatory nonsense that is going on right now for things
that basic,
that
right?
Yeah, that are
humanity.
basic.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Why keep yourself at that level? Why not strive for where you are supposed to be?
Right.
And a space that you design, not someone else.
You know, I want to bring in the audience. So people, I want you in the comments, please tell me, how have you won today? And honestly, I want to know the small friggin' minute things. I woke up, I brushed my teeth. Like, we have to really praise the winning in our lives. And we have to see these things as winning. Because if we don't, we're not going to cherish the moments, or the bigger moments, or even the smaller moments. We're just going to bluster through and not take the blessings for everything we have. So please tell me in the comments, how have you won today in this moment? Please tell me. I will start and say that I won today by, I think, getting up again and taking my dog for like a 40-minute walk and really powering through, even though we were exhausted. Both of us were. And we both did really well. And I'm sticking at it to get this puppy trained on a leash, because he's crazy and he's going to trip me up and I'm going to break my leg the way he walks around. Oh, it looks like we've lost Andrea. It's just, you're back. Yeah,
I'm here. Okay. Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, so someone says, so MLNCL Millums Click says, release the mixtape on Black Love. Keep doing it. We need them vibes. We need the Black Love. Mimi Moonchild 77 said, I'm hearing this conversation. Thank you. I'm glad that it's helping. Keep telling us, people. So tell us, is there anything else we need to look out for, Andrea, like in this moment, what's happening, you know, because we got some stuff.
Well, one of the things that I also pay attention to is not just the planets, but the fact that we're getting ready to go into a new season is very, very, very interesting.
And it's harvest.
Because
harvest is upon us.
It's harvest. And when harvest comes, it's kind of like the very end of the cycle of the year, because the winter solstice and what's coming after that, that's the barren kind of hibernation and the introspection. So
we got to purge. So
as
we ain't ruminating on that toxic shit we didn't get rid of in the summer.
And for me, it's not lost. It's not lost on me that all of these things that are going on, and the fact that they're talking about a second wave and all of this stuff is coming right around this time. This is all how the universe works. We just aren't paying attention about it. Yeah. Especially in the Western world, we didn't have to deal with SARS. We didn't deal with H1N1. We didn't deal with Zika. So we think these things are important because they're not affecting us. And now that this is affecting us, and it's also affecting a lot of other people, I don't want to minimize that. However, this is the time. This is the time to plan. This is the time to figure out who your allies are. This is the time to figure out what you need to be doing. This is not the time to be distracted.
It's a very Mars time, because that's what, to me,
it is a very Mars time.
And the war really is within ourselves. As much as we've got all these external things hurtling towards us, which could really take us down, the war is within ourselves. The war is within ourselves with a belief in ourselves that we can make it through. Because I think that's one of the biggest things, you know. Can I actually do this? Can I make it through?
Of course.
And, you know, I question myself sometimes. I'm like, girl, you going to do this shit again? We're going to turn water to wine again? Like, how many times? You've seen it in my life. You've seen it since you've known me.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Nothing into something. And it is something I can do. But my goodness, the energy it takes. So, you know, there are times where I'm like, I have to do this again. Please, again.
Yes,
and you're right. Yes, I do. Because who else is going to do it? And what you going to do if you don't do it? So it's really...
It's a simple answer. Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's a hard answer to hear, though, because it means there's no respite right now. And I'm like, I just wanted to eat donuts.
But I also challenge us all to say that when we have these challenges from time to time, one of the things we rarely take time is to realize how much we've grown from situation to situation. And there are things that we didn't do before that just kind of come easy to us now. And then the next thing that comes along, it'll be something else. And then the next thing, and then what ends up happening is you look back and you think, I'm more whole than I ever thought I was. I'm not as fractured as I thought I was. Or I am fractured, but I can see wholeness.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have, even if you're not in it, you have to know that that place exists. You have to sort of push yourself towards that. You have to know that that is even for you to attain.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of us, Black women in particular, struggle. Sometimes the things that we want, there is a part of us deep down inside, we don't even feel like it's for us.
Can we speak about that? Can we just speak about that? What we think we deserve? Can we speak about that? Because I have my moments.
Don't think it's for us.
I have my moments about what I think I deserve. Because also, it's not been modeled to me. You know, I've not seen people like me have those things. And if they have it, it's in a way that I'm like, I don't think that really is the way I want it. But we have to talk about what we deserve and what we think we're worth. We really do. You know, because as much as when, you know, I just an example, and we've spoken about this, Monique and what's happened with her and Netflix. I know, right? And she thinks she deserves something. And quite frankly, I actually agree with her. There is nothing in what she's saying that I'm like, yeah, why not have it? Because I've seen lesser people with less talent, skills, and accreditations get more than her. So of course she deserves it. You see? But people didn't like that.
Well, let me tell you what my position is, since we're talking about this. I think that she deserves, but I also think there is sort of a comeuppance that she has experienced, because when she had a position to help other people and to help them realize what they deserve, she did not do it.
We all got to learn,
and there is always reciprocity, and there is always karma. And just because you are a Black woman in this world does not mean that you don't experience those things.
And this is why, this is why you got to keep your circle clean. And when I say circle, I'm talking about our life cycle. Like, what I always see things in circular ways. So the actions we do, it puts stuff in our circle, right? And so what you're putting into your circle is what's going to come back to you, right? And so it's really important. There's a comment here from Boateng Gabrielle where she says, can we accumulate wealth with good morals? I mean, in a capitalist framework, no, because it wasn't built on morality. It was built on greed and oppression. So it's going to be hard for you to do it through that framework. But there could be other ways.
Yes.
There could be other ways.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When we think of wealth and things that are things, basically, wealth existed well before Europeans got on boats and went to other parts of the world. Oh, yes. We all suffered for it. So... and those were not necessarily perfect frameworks either, but just think about how you want to do it and what your intention is. And do not be afraid to try to build it outside of what everybody else is doing. Right. Because again, you have the power to do that.
And also we need to talk about wealth. What is wealth? You know, because I see all this Black excellence stuff, and to me, it just sees a rehash of Black faces doing white things, you know, white things that are associated with capitalism and patriarchy. I'm not here for that. So what is this wealth that we want? You know what I mean? Do we want the wealth of, like, our spirits are clean and protected and our legacy is there and sustained and healthy? Do we want physical health, spiritual health? You know, and so money, yes, we need because of the systems we're in, but what is this wealth we want? And it also comes in the whole reimagining of who we are as a people, what we're trying to get for this next level, post-COVID, right? What's your thoughts? I think you're a little delayed, are we? Do you hear me?
Do you hear me?
I can now.
Yeah, so
I think it's slightly
IG's a little funky.
Slightly, I know it is. I mean, actually, I'm going to skip to a comment here, which Millen's Click wrote, which is struggling with feeling that as Black women, we're used and treated like objects. No wonder why we're coming to become some degree materialistic. Yes,
the wheel is spinning on my end.
Oh, okay. I can still hear and see you. You're perfectly fine for me. But I'll keep talking until we get reconnected again. So let me know when you're back with us. I will say about us women being treated as objects and things like that, there is a degree to which we have to stop objectifying ourselves. Now, I'm not saying that we need to wear long skirts and not twerk and stuff. I mean, we could twerk all day. We could do what the hell we want. That's not something I'm talking about. But we sometimes,
Simone, I can hear you, but it's very fractured. The sound is very fixed.
Okay.
I broke it up.
So you're perfect for me. So I can still hear and see you. But just come into the conversation when you can, Andrea, if you can. Okay. So just to say about that point about us and objectifying ourselves, it's about seeing us as something more than just the people who uphold communities and the people who struggle through.
I'm going to go out and try to come back in.
Great. No worries. Please. I'll be here. Struggle through situations. You know what I mean? That's what I want us to do less of. I want us to really be quite whole in our approach to how we love ourselves, how we love others. And so we're loving others in ways that's sustainable and it's not going to kill us, which the way that Black women love is lethal, right? And I'm saying that because we're not taking care of ourselves. We're taking care of everyone else. And then we're ending up in a place of heart failure, high blood pressure, diabetes. Like, let's be very real about what we're doing. Okay, so Andrea, do you hear us now? Are you back with us? We see and hear you. You back?
Yes, I had, all these IG ball-headed games.
Right. IG, the platform. I keep saying.
But it was easier to get. It was easier to get out and get back in this time.
Good.
I heard what you were saying.
Ooh, okay, she'll probably come back. So sorry about the technical difficulties, but we do not own this platform. And, maybe that's something I need to look into. But at the moment, this is a platform we use. Andrea will jump back in. I think she is. She should be coming back in. But yeah, I think I want us to think about how we objectify ourselves. And that's not in a sexual sense I'm talking about. I'm talking about how do we look at ourselves as Black women as objects. Really think deeply about that. You're back. I see you. Can I hear you? I can hear you. Yes. You're back. You're back. You're back.
Yes, I can.
So as we're here again, and as we're kind of really just trying to get ourselves ready for what's coming, because it's coming, what could you leave us with where you're just, that you think is the best thing you can leave us with? Some sort of pearls of wisdom.
I really think that a lot of the ways that we can navigate what is coming is to really find time and or space to figure out what kind of warrior you want to be. If there is anything that you have reached a barrier on, and it's kind of at a deadlock, do you really want to break through? That's the second thing. Because sometimes we say we want things and that's not really, our actions don't match what we say. And the third thing is, because harvest time is coming, really take the time to push out all of the things that you don't need. Because unfortunately, to coin a term that's become very cliche, winter is coming. and if you are not ready, you need to get ready. You need to get ready.
And stay ready. Woo! Because they're going to get you ready, or it's just going to come at you and slap you.
Exactly. Especially since there is an election coming, not just in our countries, all over the world, there's stuff going on.
Too. Yeah.
Exactly. This virus, people don't know, and people are still, like, I don't know if you've seen all this resurgence in Europe that they're having, and so they were ahead of us. So that just means it's a matter of months or weeks before we here in the U.S. or wherever people are have to deal with this again. And then number 3 is wintertime is really about things being kind of quiet and still. And what are you going to do with that stillness?
It's funny that about the stillness that's to come, right? And also you also did some really great work, I think, with me, where you were telling me what we can use winter for. That it's not just about things dying, everything's still, like, there is so much energy that can be used that's really beneficial to us. And so while we're going to harness and think about what kind of warrior we want to be, and we're going to prepare and really going to strategize about how we're going to get through, because really at this point I think we should only think about getting through 2020. Like 2021 is coming, but right now, just think about December 31st. Like, that's the goal. Like, just make it.
honestly, just think about August 24th, tomorrow.
Oh, true. Just, and then the next
Those
day.
small, yep, the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. Because one of the things that a wise person once told me, and I can't even remember who it was or if I read it in a book, it's not the destination, it's the journey.
I know, and this is the thing. In a competitive capitalist society, we're always told win, end goal. What's your end goal? And it's like, no, it's the journey. So it's hard to kind of recalibrate yourself to think, oh, it's not about the end goal, it's about the journey. Yeah, it's a lot.
Well, but in a COVID world, it's very easy because you can't go anywhere and you can't do anything. So
sit on.
Day by day, hour by hour. Hopefully, if you have people in the home, you love them, you like them, you appreciate them. Yeah, and if you don't, this is the time to repair that.
Yeah. Or not.
All things,
or
time,
not, right?
Or not,
or
exactly.
Get rid of.
Well, healing doesn't mean that everything is okay.
No.
Healing just means that you get to a space of acceptance and that you can move on.
Would you throw management in there when it comes to healing, that you get to a place where you can manage these things? Would you say that's part of healing too?
Yeah, and for me, I don't know that I would use the word management. I would say more acceptance.
Okay.
Because when you're resisting things, that's what keeps you in that space of uneasiness and discomfort. It's not the thing, and it's not where you're going. It's you and how you're handling it. And I think a lot of times we're not taught to accept things, and not accept it in a very defeatist way, but accept it to say, okay, this is the choices that I've made.
Right.
This is where I am because I am not a victim. And so I need to understand that, because then I need to get to tomorrow. And the only way I can do that is knowing who I am right at this moment. And a lot of us rush through that. We want to I just want to get there. I don't care, I didn't get the job I want, or, I'm whatever. What role did you play?
Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's a minor or a major role, what role did you play? Because honestly, the only person's energy that you can control is your own.
True. No, you're right.
Because these people out here in these COVID streets will get you all off kilter if you allow them.
Oh, indeedy. It's I was going to say it's worrying times, but it's not worry. It's not worrying is not the word I want, but it certainly is giving us more thoughts than we've ever had to contemplate ever in our generation. Our generation hasn't had something like this, or all the generations that are living now, should I say, have not had something like this, right? And so while we can look back to see how other generations did it, we've got things like social media, internet, and things like that should be able to kind of push us into other ways of handling things, right? And so how would you suggest to people, we've got the old ways, our ancestral ways, which we have to do more of. The ritual is something that you spoke about, and yes, we need to get our rituals in place, or even create new ones, right?
Exactly.
And I will just say, when we create new ones, please be guided by the ancestors when that is happening, because you don't want to create something that is totally like, it has no relevance, it's not connected to, and it's just weird. You don't want to be doing, you want to do something that has some kind of nod to where your lineage is from, where you're from, you know what I mean, and your ancestral line. But is there ways that we can use some of these new technologies that we've got that could help us, you know what I mean, through this period?
It's funny that you say that, because initially when social media came out, I was the most anti-social media person because my background is in communications. Like yours is not the same type, but a different kind. And I feel like human beings struggle so much just to get the vocal communication right. That I did not, and in particular for Black people, worldwide, I did not think that, I guess I'm not going to say we didn't need it, but it's like we had so much that we needed to work on with the vocal and the verbal communication, that adding something else to it, I felt like was compounding it. However, because I, like everybody else, learns, I have realized that there are very positive things that can be, that can come from technology. But again, you have to have a strategy. It cannot be haphazard. It cannot be based on some popular high school, middle school mentality.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem that I have on social media, even with people who call themselves spiritual, is that a lot of it is still coming from a place where you just want people.
Yeah.
It's not about the type of person. It's not about the message.
Yeah.
You just want popularity.
Yeah.
And I just struggle with, how people are able to do that, but then also not get sucked into the same thing we're talking about with wealth.
Right. And it's I mean, for me, I feel the way we've been able to connect, like the Zoom calls, our group Zoom calls, we've got the WhatsApp groups that our beloved parents like to use for sometimes Bible chapters and all sorts of things we don't do.
Or my almost 90-year-old grandmother on Facebook every day telling me who she saw.
And it's like, this is not how we saw technology being used, but everybody needs it for something, right? But the biggest thing is connection, right? And learning how to connect in ways where it isn't always about the physical right now. And it's probably not going to be like that for a long time. We're not going to connect the ways that we used to for a very long time, if at all, again. So I guess staying connected through the period that is coming up is really important, right? But what would you recommend to people to kind of just keep the balance between everything, because we're asking a lot, right? We're asking a lot. Let's go through everything we're asking for. Be a warrior, be prepared, we are asking a lot. So how can we help people kind of just keep balance with it?
I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, perfectly.
Okay. So what I think is that really take time during your day, even if you have to schedule it, because so much of our life is very segmented now. But take time to not be on technology. Don't look at, certain hour of the day, you don't look at your phone. Or when you're having dinner with your family or on your own, you're not on your phone. If you're watching things on television, or just our interaction with tech up so much that now it's very important, as much as we schedule time on it, we need to schedule time off of it. And the goal being that eventually we have some equality between when we're using technology and when we're not.
So I've loved this conversation. I always love this conversation with you, because there's always some gems in it that even I'm like, yes.
Oh, you sound like R2-D2 right now.
Am I a robot? Am I a robot? Do I still sound like one? I'm still here. You sound perfect, by the way, and you're still here with us. So I'm going to keep talking and hopefully it'll come back in. But I did want to kind of mention, just when we ask people to do these things, when we ask people to live outside of the sort of frameworks in which we are always taught to live in, it's actually something that a lot of people can't do. It's actually something that people, the masses, it's not for the masses, Oh, she's gone. But my point, as I was saying, it's not for the masses. It is for a select few. And it's not that we're selecting them. It's kind of like the natural order of things selects people, right? And so when we have these conversations, I really hope people are finding ways for it to mean and be a reality in their life. That they are adapting it to what they can do, to their skills, to all the things that they have in their life to make it happen for them. Because my journey is very different from Andrea's and yours, but there's still things we can learn from each other in all these kind of pathways we're making. You're back.
Yes,
Brilliant.
Yes, I have learned the ways of ducking around Instagram.
And I was just making a point about how people need to adapt some of the gems that they've heard here for themselves, but also just that not everyone's going to get it. Not everyone can come along. I think I've mentioned this before, that I've been building an art for a very long time, and not everyone's coming on my art. Trust me, everyone's coming.
But what I realized a long time ago is some people don't want the truth. And I had to learn how to accept that.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I don't have to judge it. I don't have to like it. I don't have to try to make them do it. Because sometimes the more you try to force someone to do something, the farther they go away from it. And if your goal is to have them really understand it, then you need to just step back and let the universe do its work. Because that might not be your work.
Yeah.
And that's a hard lesson, especially if it's people you love, you care about, you want them. You can't want something for someone that they don't want for themselves. And even if they do want, They have to find that path. That's not your job to tell them that.
Very true. It's really interesting that, because especially as Black women, I feel like we're socialized to always have this caring role of bringing people along with us, of helping people, of empowering them. But who is doing that for us? Are we using these energies to help ourselves, to sustain ourselves, to uplift others like ourselves? And I mean, we've seen it, but is it something that's a reflex? Because that's where we need to be at, you know. And it's just the kind of current things that are happening in that we see in the media. I mean, one that I'm going to refer to is Meg Thee Stallion being shot by that little Canadian rapper. I can't really even remember his name. I think, you know, it's obviously an ancestral thing that I just wiped the man from my memory. But you know, the fact that Black women feel, and it really does appear that we're so unprotected. And so this is what I'm saying. We're doing all this protection for the whole community and for our lineages and for our legacy, so future generations can have something that looks remotely good. But in that process, who is doing that for us? And if we can't pinpoint who that is, then we have to do it for ourselves. We are the ones we're waiting for, right?
You have to put your mask on first.
Yes. All of the airlines tell us. All of the airlines tell us.
Yep, in a very subtle way, but you have to put your mask on first, because for several reasons. Yeah. One, because you're important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you matter.
Yeah.
And you deserve to put yours on first. Two, because you can't really tell someone what it's like to transform their life or save their life if you haven't done that for yourself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be very hollow words if people don't see it.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately or fortunately, as human beings, we do what we see, not what we hear.
True.
And that's a brilliance of humanity.
But also,
it's our
downfall sometimes, right? It's also it's a double-edged sword.
It is. But if you've ever seen small children, you can tell them something to the cows come home.
Yes.
But if they see you doing it, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, for real. And I would even liken puppies to that too. You know, they don't listen. Okay.
No, they do what they see.
Yeah, they do.
Especially if we think about ourselves when we're trying to transform our life and make change, especially if you see yourself trying to grasp at things and trying to figure it out, and everybody is entitled to that right.
Yeah.
You know, who are you to tell someone this is the way you have to do it?
Right.
And maybe that's not the way for them.
Right. And so that just leads me on to kind of feel in a place of discernment. I need to choose my battles, but I'm talking about internal battles as well. I'm really not talking about the macro. I'm talking about the micro. I'm talking about the internal. That I need to choose the battles that I'm willing to kind of go warrior-like on, and either destroy completely within myself.
Exactly.
Nurture to a point where it's better. You know, this is the preparation. So when these external things come, it's like, oh, bitch, I'm ready. You didn't know? I've been doing this work for a long time. And so I want you to tell us, where do we find you? Because you blog. And so I want people to go directly to your blog and read it. So where do we find your blog? Do you hear me? You don't hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, so I was saying we've just got about a minute left.
Can you hear me?
I can. We've got a minute left, and I want people to know where they can find you and your blog. So where can they find your blog?
Okay, my blog is on Blogger, because I'm old school. daughterofwaters.blogspot.com. And on Instagram, I'm at daughterofwaters.
We love it. I am so thankful you were here. You gave me some gems. I have got some quotables for the week. So thank you for helping me with my social media
You're
posts.
welcome.
I mean, no, thank you. It's always such a delight and a joy. You take me to another level every time. Love to you always. Thank you. You will be coming back, because I'll drag you back here when these planets be acting up.
Yes, you will.
Because they acting up, and they honestly, you might see me scratching my head and be like, oh, Jay, I need you. So when you see that, you'll be coming back on. But love to you. Have a great week.
It was wonderful.
Thank you so much for giving us your time, and see you later.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.